Hey, what's going on, guys? So, the Switch 2 announcement trailer should be dropping tomorrow as of uploading this video, a couple days from now as of recording this video. And, I wanted to kind of share kind of my hopes, my dreams, and maybe like some speculation of what we think is going to happen. I know a million people have already made this video, and I know realistically it would have made more sense to make this video like sooner so there could be more time to react to it. But, making this video for two reasons. One, seems like a pretty easy video to make. And two, I think that it'd be kind of fun, being that it is so close to the time of, if you're watching this, like a day one kind of person on my channel, then we can see if we were right, or if you guys drop in the comments some of your expectations, if you were right, or if you watch this after the fact, you can see how wrong I was. But without further ado, let's talk a little bit about what I want to expect and maybe what we already know or what to expect with the Switch 2 announcement. So let's talk about a few things that we know are borderline confirmed. These are still in the rumor sphere, but they're really pretty highly, talked about. And that's one thing. A lot of people are saying the price point is $399. That seems logical to me. Originally I kind of thought it was gonna be $450, but $400 kind of makes sense. It's not an OLED screen, so there was a savings there, and the fact that it's beefier, there'd obviously be a plus to that opposed to the original system's current price point. So I think 400 is a good middle ground where it's not crazy expensive like a premium top tier $500, $550 console with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, but it also isn't gonna really be super cheap because of what's in it. I know another thing, this is more of a rumor, but we're talking about release date for pre-orders, and some people are saying it's right during the Direct. I don't believe that's going to be the case personally, but another rumor that seems more realistic that's been thrown out there is basically a week after, which is April 9th, exactly 1 week after. Regardless, you know how the gaming sphere has been here recently. Getting it online probably going to be a bitch. I think, if you're really interested in pre-ordering, I would maybe recommend going in person to, your Best Buys, your GameStops, and doing it in person. I think that might be better. But then again, who knows, man? It could be anything. But this is obviously going to be a very popular system. I mean, if people are saying that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the quintessential gaming release of all time for a game, I think for a console, this one's going to be up there. I mean, a lot of people are there for different midnight launches, but the Switch being so hugely, massively popular, I can definitely see this being a pretty big deal to try to get one on day one. That said, another rumor that's been coming out really recently, it's been flooding my news feed and my videos feed, is this whole C button thing. So I don't know much about it, but I will say that the common kind of thing I've been hearing about what it is, if you haven't heard this yet, then you've been under a rock, I'm sure. But if it is true, I think it's awesome, and there is precedence for it because it has happened in the past. But that is the C button. They're saying it's kind of like a sharing button where you can link other systems to your system and play off of the same game cart. Now, the best example of this was back in the 3DS. It's either 3DS or DS days. You could play multiplayer Mario Kart with one cartridge, if you didn't know this, by linking other systems via the ad hoc thing, to where you could all play on your own system, because you can't really do split screen on a handheld, but you could all play on your own system but play multiplayer together with one cartridge. And they're saying that that's what the deal is with the Switch 2, which is cool for two reasons. One, it's going to make playing certain games a lot easier with your friends. But two, it's also going to make your old Switches, be it yours or your friends or whoever, not useless. I mean, just imagine, taking a multiplayer game like Mario Kart, something split screen, maybe Splatoon, I don't know, and something where you would have a little tiny screen, kind of annoying, but instead, you as the Switch 2 owner can use your Switch 2, and everyone else with their Switches can be playing on their screen. No screen looking, this, that, and the other, and no tiny screens. I think that's an awesome idea, and I really do hope that's true. And like I said, with the DS or 3DS, whichever console that was, they already utilized this before. So definitely feels like something that can really happen. And I think it'd be something that'd be very awesome. I imagine it'll mostly be probably used for first-party games, if this is true. But I would imagine third-party games would have the option to do it. If they do or not, though, that would be on them. We'll see how it is. But the other big thing that I think we all would want to talk about regarding the Switch would be like actual release date. Now, I actually have not looked at any rumors for release dates purposefully because I don't want to get my hopes up. Obviously, it will be available this year, and obviously it'll be available by the holidays. So if you want to be like super safe, you could say, well, it'll definitely be out in the holidays of 2025. But I think there's going to be a summer release, and I think it'd be an early summer release. I think that we could see this thing on shelves by like June. 2 months after the hype of the drop, get you enough, blood flowing where it's like, hey, the drop just happened. Get your pre-order in April 9th, April 2nd, some people believe. And then, hey, 2 months later, it's going to be on shelves. Check it out. It's dropping with these awesome games. But, that's my thought. I'm thinking June. I think July is like, you're competing too much with summer itself. I mean, like, it's going to sound silly, but, you have to think globally, right? Like, take your mind out of the video game space. People who are really into video games, it doesn't really matter what the hell month it comes out. But if you think globally, July is like deep in the summer. Families are going on vacations. Sports are a big thing at that point. Going to the beach is a big thing at that point. And like, you don't want to release video games close to other big video games because they compete with each other, right? Just like movies. You don't want to put out, your indie movie at the same weekend as a huge blockbuster that everyone's looking forward to. You don't want to compete with summer, right? When it comes to that. Now, June is early summer. Parents are still figuring stuff out. Not many vacations are happening. Kids are getting out of school at different times. So, May, June, you drop it in June. Everyone buys one, and then now you have it for your road trip, for your family vacation. That's why I'm thinking that. That's just me. I don't know if that's a crazy rationale or not, but I think that that's a very, logical time frame. If not, like I said, you can always say holiday 2025, and you're not going to be wrong. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is launch games, and, we just had that big Switch Direct thing, but I want to talk about launch games to be like specifically for the Switch 2. I'm going to break it up into like damn near guaranteed, likely, would really like it to happen, would super like it to happen, but probably isn't going to happen, and then absolutely won't happen. This is just me, Wolf Cronin. So likely or pretty much damn near guaranteed, obviously the new Mario Kart it's going to happen. They've already shown it. That's going to be a game. Mario Kart 8's like the best-selling game probably in existence, and it carried the Switch all the way through, even to now. So, like, Mario Kart's going to happen. Now, one thing they've always done, except for they didn't do it on the Switch, is they did drop, usually a Nintendo console launches and a Mario game comes with it. It's hard to really realize, but Mario Odyssey was actually a pretty good while ago. And I'm thinking like a Mario Odyssey 2 would be super sick to launch with. That's just my opinion. I think the 3D Marios are dope. But there hasn't been one that I didn't love. I think a Mario Odyssey 2, Switch 2, Mario Odyssey 2, it just like lends itself to be in there. There are other IPs that could be out there. Maybe like a Kirby game, maybe a Yoshi game. We haven't seen one of those in a while. But one thing that would be really slick that also I would kind of be on the fence on if it would be done right. But if it had Mario Odyssey quality, it could be. But a new 3D Donkey Kong, wouldn't that be awesome? Now we're going down to like my hopefuls, but probably not happening. Like a 3D Donkey Kong would be super cool. I mean, that would be actually really cool. But then you go to like third-party stuff, and there's probably going to be your slew of everything right? Like your soccer game, your football game, your basketball game, whatever, Madden, NBA, whatever those look like. Those are probably all be on there. They'll probably announce some kind of Call of Duty type thing. Maybe a new expansive Roblox and Fortnite and Minecraft. All the generic crap that you associate with kids gaming or just the general audience gaming. All that stuff will probably be talked about. But, now we're talking stuff that would be like super duper, like awesome, rumored for years and years, but maybe not going to happen. It'd be cool if they finally dropped some of those Zelda remakes. You know, I know that everyone's been saying that it's going to be like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. I would absolutely love even just a port of the Ocarina of Time from the 3DS, like those graphics. But like, man, that'd be dope to drop. And Ages Seasons would be dope to drop. You know, get Zelda out there. That would be amazing. I mean, I know we just got Echoes recently, and even though it feels recently, like the last like 3D mainline Zelda actually was a couple years ago. So, you know, who knows? I do know that it's all but confirmed that like a lot of games for the Switch will have like a Switch 2 upgrade. So that's why I don't think you're gonna get something like a Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom situation, because I think there's gonna be an upgrade. Now, a good question for you guys, and I'd like you to answer this in the comments. And I'm gonna hold my thoughts on it because I know Nintendo. I think I know what they would do. But these upgrades that they're talking about, do you think those are going to cost money? Like, as an example, Tears of the Kingdom, the Switch 2 version, you know, there's probably going to be a Switch 2 version you could buy. Or, you know, would you have to pay $10, $15 to make your Switch version have the upgraded package? What do y'all think? In my head, in my heart, I think I know the answer. But I want to know what y'all think. You know, is Nintendo a cool guy on this, or are they not a cool guy? But last but not least, I do want to have like my Hail Mary. This would be the coolest thing that they would ever announce, and it absolutely won't happen. There's a 0% chance of this. Mega Man Legends 3. Mega Man Legends 3. But hey, that's going to do it for today, guys. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you haven't, please do. That'd be awesome. If you watch this after the Switch Direct, were we right? I don't know. Let's find out, and we will find out together, and we will talk about it maybe in the next video, or who knows what I'll be doing another video on, but maybe. Anyway, see ya.